Okay, people, welcome back to the channel. No garage stuff. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We are going to do an amendment um, to the last video as far as getting to work on our angled and curved section. And I think there's no better way to explain it than actually with the two-dimensional plywood, which is going to end up being our actual end piece, the cap. When I explained to you the last video, as far as we do not want to drill into plywood, that is a major no-no between the grains. So we're going to have to cut a notch out. Well, we cut our notch out, okay? And we made our cuts for our 2x6. And imagine this is the front wall to the 2x6 right there. Since the one in the camper was completely toast, this will be the surface that the rain gutter trim molding will screw into right here. And this piece right here is attached to the overhang 2x6 that runs the length of the bunkhouse, and beyond that for the sidewall. Does that make sense? Now, the next step is going to be, we already cut our angle. And the way you get your angle, if you're not a math, wizard, and you want to keep things as simple as possible and more efficient as for speed, we just took our scrap 2x6 and we just did it over the line right here. And we just drew it out. Well, we also held it in place with the C-clamp, right up perfectly against the line, traced our line, and then used the circular saw and then ripped our cut. And as you can see, it's perfect. So this will be what you will see on the interior, the structural member holding the roof and end cap sidewall upright, including that curve section that's going to go, like that. The block section that's stapled the hell out of together, which is in good condition. We're going to leave that fine, but what we need to do now, we're going to do a little bit different than the starboard side stuff. And it's okay to make adjustments as far as if you can do something more efficient or whatever, but we know our block section comes right here. Wait a minute. Let me put my finger right here. This is where our block section starts. Little 2x2s, which in reality, when this was built, in the original camper, they're actually 1 3/4 square. That makes any sense. But 2x2s, by today's standards, would be 1.5 inches square. So you always have to keep that in mind if you can repurpose or just keep reuse what you have that's already in place. It doesn't show any rot, then it seems like it can do the job for some time. Go right ahead, but also keep in mind if it's a different size dimensional lumber than what you're used to, take that into account. And we have done that. So we're going to take this right here, okay? We're going to run it. We're going to put it all, this is our line. This is the top of our 2x6, okay? Think on the inside. This is a big 2x6 already. It's this, but it's laying like that. All right. So we're gonna rest this on the 2x6. Okay. Actually, we'll take our little kicker, outside kicker, and we'll make a 2x6. There's our 2x6. Okay. So now we're going to have to make some notches up here to give way for the block section that's already on the camper. And then we'll cut a straight line. We'll just simply do measurements with our perfect template, which is going to be our end cap outside wall. And then we'll make a perfect straight line, and we'll temporarily affix it, hook it up to the camper, actually install it, not hook it up, and then go to the next step if we need to make any revisions as far as our drawing. As you can see, we only drew to right here. This is where our curve line stops. But, you know, that's more than we need right now because, as you can see, whether it's a 2x6 or a 2x8 or 2x10, there's only so much swing you can get out of it. Right? For example, if you were to put this here, you know, let's imagine this is 1 3/4 already, right? You're not going to get very far, even with a 2x10, when you start having to make the curve. So in our case, we're just going to do it in like the other side, the starboard side. We're just going to make this vertical curve piece to conform with the stuff that's already here into 3 sections. And it will be overlapped because we've got the end cap front wall, if that makes any sense. So yeah, and like I mentioned previously in the most recent video about your cutting, whether it's a circular saw or a jigsaw, if you can see that, can you see the blue? See how our line is still visible? So, and we took into account that our circular saw has a cutting width of about 1/8 of an inch. If you include the thickness of the circular saw blade and the slight wobble that it has. So yeah, you just use your line as your friend and you'll be okay. And this is actually a little too much because when we do the final installation and start buttoning it down permanently, we're going to use our little buddy here, right here, and smooth everything out. So this piece goes on perfectly. There aren't too many voids. So our trim piece and molding will line up perfectly. I hope that makes any sense. But it is a process. Just I like to do this rather than doing the math because I'm right here. I have a 3-dimensional picture of what's going down. I know exactly where my block section is at. I know this is the top of the 2x6. So for right now, keeping it simple, we're just going to work on making this piece fit within our specifications, because we know this piece already is already perfectly partially drawn out to the siding. Our siding is exactly where it needs to be, and this is pretty much our blank sheet that's becoming we'll call it our white trash camper masterpiece template. Okay, I don't know if you can hear that, but that's Mother Nature getting ready to give us another Fleetwood Mac sparky excessive precipitation show, and it has been that way lately. I'm looking forward to hitching a ride with a neighbor to get the hell out of here and do some errands, because I took a walk down the road that we got stuck on, and it is no way in any condition to get down. I can get up that road when it was like what it was just by using the throttle. If you've never used a throttle to steer, well, that's exactly what it means. You can use the actual throttle on a rear-wheel drive to steer. So definitely looking forward to getting to do some errands, shall we say. Granted, it's a half a day deal, but along the road, a lot of the locals around here make their own food, and to hit up as far as their telephone number and where they're going to be at on the side of the highway and so forth. So that will be fun, getting burritos, tamales, hamburgers, that sort of stuff. And it's a lot cheaper than you will find at a restaurant. And it's basically homemade with good ingredients. So, yeah. And the little Sheltie, man, he just loves the stuff too, as far as getting his cut, because, man's best friend or woman's best friend or other's best friend, they got to have their cut. So, yeah. So, yes, we're going to make this piece. Maybe we should refresh on when I was talking about acquiring tools, which would be building supplies. We just group them all together. And maybe you're on a budget and you don't have, the resources to do this all at once. Go to a swap meet or find online, through Craigslist or Marketplace or just your regular retail outlet, and buy a C-clamp or two, buy a channel lock or two, buy a new or used circular saw bit by bit, so the hit is not like having to fill up your tank. Let's say you're driving a Suburban or Yukon XL and it holds 40 plus gallons. What's gas right now? 4, 5 plus in some states. That's a major hit. So let's say you're going to spend $25 this week on some tools you'll need to use for your building materials. And then just keep on adding and adding and adding. I mean, if you don't have any pencils laying around, here, dollar store or Dollar Tree, whatever, $1.25 per pack, which you will use. And like I mentioned before, this was 99 cents when the 99-cent store was 99 before Rona hit, and they raised the price to $1.25. This score also was from the dollar store. I bought 6 of them for $1.25 a pop. Try to get that at Lowe's, Home Depot, Rip Off Central, meaning your local Ace, True Value, Do It Best store. You're not going to be able to find a 25-foot, measuring tape spool for $1.25. You'll start to figure out where the deals are, and if you're not impatient and frugal with your money. And the reason why I mentioned that this whole deal, converting this from a pickup camper to a full shed, was only going to be around $1,000. You're just not to the point of being a cheapskate, but just know where the deals are at, and stick to your guns. Like I mentioned before, take your time when you're looking for lumber. Make sure that it's, straight and plumb. Because if you buy a piece of wood that's all wonky, it's just going to be a disaster. And you can do this, whether, you're contemplating it and whatever. But I also did not mention is, I've also disclosed it honestly. This thing was given to me. You can go on Marketplace. You can go on Craigslist. There are people that want to give away their motorhome, their travel trailer. I've even seen Lance campers, which are supposedly the best quality, have the most gimmicks of pickup campers on the market. And they will give them away for whatever reason, including rot. But, maybe the partner, the spouse, I don't want that piece of junk. You need to get it out of here. Or for whatever reason, there are a lot of people that will give stuff away for free. Yes, a motorhome, a travel trailer, a pickup camper. And so you won't have any money out from the initial start, shall we say. Now, if you're getting a motorhome for free, plan on having basic mechanical seals. If it's an old school one where it's got the ignition system like the Peugeot, 2-wire electronic ignition system, maybe that's dead. Check for spark. You're going to have to find a alternative fuel source, because it's been sitting a long time. The gas in the gas tank is not something you want to be pumping into the carburetor or into the fuel injection system. Most people use like a marine gas tank, just as it implies, what you would use on an outboard engine as the fuel source, and just hook it directly to the carburetor or a Mickey Mouse jerry-rigged fuel pump system. And don't drive too fast, because it's likely that the tires are dry rotted and they will blow out, especially if they're too low. They should not be properly inflated from the beginning. It's okay for them to be lower on air, but not to the point of, being flat. But if they're pumped up to, like, those light truck tires go anywhere between 75 psi to 100, you want to keep it on the low side, like 50. That should be enough if the motorhome is not packed full of junk to get it home, because then the tire, the sidewalls, and the treads won't try to disintegrate and come off the casing. But yeah, you can do it if you're contemplating it, or if you're already in this altogether already. But right here, this is our friend right here. Not only are our lines our friend, but we basically got the front end cap already here for us to work off of. And we're getting there. And obviously people are watching this series, they're interested in it. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to do this. And if you're not good at math, then draw it out. It's the easiest way. But stick to your drawing if you know your drawing is perfectly to what it needs to be. And you'll get there. Well, it's getting a little late. I would like to get this piece cut and maybe the upper portion going, which means we're going to have to reinstall this again and set up our siding. Not the siding, but the actual roof end cap, the top of it up, so it's where it's supposed to be lined up with the siding, before we start going gung-ho and making the wrong drawings. Because the last thing we want to do is make our drawings incorrect and then waste a good piece of leftover 3/4 plywood, which I think right now the last 3/4 plywood I bought for 4x8, it was $34 or $35 plus tax. Yes, it's pricey compared to OSB, but you're getting the real deal, okay? Don't go cheapo on quality. Stick with quality materials that are beyond OSB, shall we say. I mean, if you want to go gung-ho, then go marine. You might end up paying $100 for a sheet, but that's a whole different story. We don't need to go that far on this deal. So you people, you have a great day. If you're new to the channel, welcome again. Leave a comment. Please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you will not miss the next episode that comes your way. Videos are posted every weekend as long as the weather holds out for the first season. And I look forward to making it into the video and uploading it for you all to watch. Okay? Goodbye.